This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Labor leader Rebecca White has promised to replace Launceston's Charles Street Bridge as part of a plan to ease traffic congestion if elected, vowing to spend $40 million on a replacement bridge to build alongside it. But the Liberal Party claims Labor has copied their policy in an election panic.
Launching their Bass campaign today, pledging $40 million for Charles Street Bridge over 4 years.
Our commitment is to provide the $40 million in the first term of a majority Labor government. That obviously would require planning work to take place and planning approvals, design work, consultation with the community before tenders could go out for construction.
An announcement the Liberal Party says is identical to one aspect of their road package.
Well, we've announced a $142 million Northern Roads package, which is fully costed, fully funded, and goes to the challenges that Launceston are facing as a growing city. What Labor have done is copied one particular aspect of that. Welcome on board.
Other promises include upgrades towards the Launceston General Hospital.
We've outlined today as part of our initiative is a $60 million investment in the Launceston General Hospital and the health precinct to ensure that we've got the infrastructure to meet the health needs of the local community.
Labor today also announcing to keep the office of the Coordinator General in what the Liberals describe as a backflip.
What surprises me is the quantum of the backflip. Only 5 days ago, Ms White once again said that she would get rid of the Coordinator General. Today she's backflipped completely on that.
Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
And the state government has announced if re-elected, it would lower Tasmanian power prices by up to 10%. The party vowing to de-link Tasmania from the national energy market, which can be volatile and potentially costly for our state's consumers. But the opposition isn't convinced, calling the plan too little, too late.
It's a long way to the top, but the Premier is putting his energy into getting there first. Today's announcement, unplugging Tasmania from the national energy market.
Our aim is for Tasmania to have the lowest regulated prices in the country.
Under the 2013 Labor government, Tasmania was linked with Victoria's wholesale energy prices, but 4 years on, these prices are proving volatile.
In recent years, there's been 20% odd increases on the mainland. That has had a flow-on effect here. What we are talking about doing is calling the shots.
This plan forming part of the Liberals' Tasmania First energy policy.
Have the lowest power prices amongst all the states of Australia. We have secure supply and we have renewable energy which will be self-sufficient by 2022. This is a competitive edge and we want to use that to our advantage. Tasmanians should be paying Tasmanian power prices.
Today's announcement set to be implemented by 2021 if the Liberals are re-elected next month.
What we're doing is capping power prices at CPI between now and mid-2021 and then the reduction of an expected 7 to 10% will occur.
But the opposition isn't convinced of the details.
This is a government that's got a woeful history and record when it comes to delivering energy security for Tasmanians. And now they're saying they're going to do something about it in 2021 if they're re-elected. It's just not good enough.
Energy analyst Mark White questioning the plan's long-term feasibility, claiming the tightening of regulations could put consumer prices at the whim of the state government.
We're beneficiaries in the short term, but we're concerned that in the longer term it's continuing to reinforce the monopoly status of Hydro Tasmania. It could also trigger the exit of the only competing retailer with Aurora.
It would essentially make the establishment of electricity prices into a political space.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Reminder now to make sure your electoral roll information is up to date with the state elections set for March the 3rd. You have until 6 p.m. tomorrow night before the electoral rolls close. To check your information is up to date, head to the Australian Electoral Commission website. Enrolling to vote and voting is compulsory. Launceston's FESTIVE has broken an attendance record with more than 22,000 flocking to City Park. The popular event has again proved to be a success, this year hosting multiple cooking demonstrations by renowned chefs.
slicing, cooking and serving a meal out in the park. A first for FESTIVE, with cooking demonstrations proving to be a crowd favourite.
Traditionally it's been a closed-off event in the conservatory, but it was so popular last year that the event organisers have responded to visitors and put it out in the open here in the park.
People come here to get some tips and some pointers from the guys that do it for a living, guys and girls I should say, do it for a living, and take it home and give it a shot, and I think that's what this is all about.
Tasmania's finest food on show, dozens of stores to choose from, including first-timers the Good Food Float.
We're just pretty fortunate to win the best taste plate at FESTIVE, and since that award got announced, it's been Taste Plate City. It's been great.
Saturday night almost reaching capacity with a record crowd of just under 12,000.
Great environment last night, great atmosphere. The band's got everyone up and dancing, and people walked out of here with a big smile on their face, and they'd really enjoyed the great beer and food and wine that we really offer here in Tassie.
Look, I love FESTIVE. It is really just so organic.
They actually have some real nice fresh produce here. So.
The annual festival is in its 31st year with bigger plans for the next. Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
Families and their teddy bears have made the most of a sunny Sunday in the south, with Runnymede hosting its inaugural Teddy Bears picnic to raise funds for the preservation of the historic property.
There's a lot of money in conservation and restoration and general upkeep of these old houses and old properties. As you can see, the garden is kind of beautifully maintained, but all of that costs money.
The family fun day included garden games, a sausage sizzle and even a teddy bear story corner.
The Hobart Hurricanes have a mountain to climb if they're to clinch their first Big Bash title after an all-out onslaught from the Adelaide Strikers' top order. Spurred on by a 115-run effort from Jake Weatherold, the home side posted a total of 202. Tim Payne was dismissed for just 5 runs a short time ago, with the Canes currently sitting at 1 for 76.
Flawless in Perth, the Canes were full of confidence in Adelaide.
As we saw, we know our best cricket can beat anyone in this competition.
Clive Rose given the first over with the ball.
Is that the first boundary? Crowd says yes, thank you.
Jofra Archer given the same treatment from the home side's top order.
And he's drifted onto the pads, and that's a good confidence booster for Carey.
Carey and Weatherold continue to fire at the expense of the Barbadian.
It's high and wide, and a maximum.
But Archer didn't have to wait much longer for redemption.
Yeah! Bowled him! We'll get back. Carey chops on, and Archer gets his revenge.
Weatherold continued to frustrate the Canes' attack.
He drops it a touch short, and it's another one over the rope. That's 50 for Weatherold.
The visitors going on to prove their own worst enemies.
And a run-out chance. Chopper's not watching. It might go very close to the rope. This time, he hasn't hit it so well. There's a bit of indecision in the outfield. Too much indecision.
The Strikers making the most of their lifelines.
Well, that could be out. No, it's 4, 6. 6 again. What a shot that is.
As the Canes' attack struggled to find answers, Head and Weatherold could do no wrong.
Well, that's powerfully struck. That's a maximum, all right.
Oh, it was the top 3 things. Oh, this time again. I don't think they'll be taking him off the ground in a hurry. He moves to 94, Weatherold.
With the home crowd willing him on, Weatherold became the first player in the BBL final to notch up a ton. Dan Christian finally bringing his day to an end on 115, but the damage had already been done on the scoreboard. Some last-minute boundaries rubbing salt into the Canes' wounds, with the visitors left chasing 203 for the win.
And some of the rising stars of world tennis were on show in Launceston today for day 2 of qualifying for the Launceston International. Around 15 matches took place throughout the day as players battled out for a spot in the main draw, which begins tomorrow. Australian young gun Alex de Minaur was set to play but had to withdraw today after re-injuring his abdomen in his Davis Cup match.
Good evening. A cloudy start to the day before clearing, becoming mostly sunny. 19 in Hobart, 26 the top for Launceston and Burnie. Devonport reached a top of 23. The state's top was 28 at Ouse, Cressy and Bushy Park. Elsewhere, 23 the popular temperature today at St Helens, Grove, Lyweenie, Low Head, Flinders and King Island. Campania reached 21 while Strawn reached a top of 20 degrees. On the satellite, low cloud about Tasmania and along the coast of New South Wales and southern Queensland, a cloud band extending over the Bight. On the close-up, some morning cloud about, but it mostly cleared the entire state. Tomorrow, high will remain to the west of Tasmania, extending a ridge over southeastern parts of the mainland. The remainder under the influence of a broad area of low pressure. Southwest to southeasterly winds tomorrow at 10 to 20 knots. Variable winds to 10 knots for the lakes, swells to 2.5 metres in the west and south. The forecast now, Hobart a fine day, 21, Dover 21 also, a warm day on the way for Ouse, 27. Partly cloudy conditions for Launceston, 25, a late shower for Devonport, 23, and Scottsdale a top of 22. Burnie a late shower, 23, a fine day for Strawn, 23 there also, and Stanley looking at 24. Partly cloudy conditions about the east, St Helens 22, 21 for Swansea, and Ross a top of 25 degrees. The UV forecast very high for most parts, but extreme for Burnie and Devonport. As we look ahead to Tuesday, light showers about the north, fine elsewhere. Fine on Wednesday apart from some early fog patches, and Thursday showers mainly about the south and the east. A fine and mostly sunny day for the bottom half of the country tomorrow. Perth 31, Adelaide looking at 35, Sydney 26, Brisbane a shower 29, and Darwin showers with a storm likely 32 degrees. And taking a look at the current temperatures, it's 18 degrees in Hobart, 24 in Launceston and 22 in Devonport. Rach, that's Sunday's weather.
Beautiful day. Thank you for that, Laura. Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. Good night.